So, dear students, we are going to deal with the second part of our lecture series on English idioms and phrases. Up to this time, we have seen all these. Now, we are going to deal with the second part of this lecture series, which is also entitled as English idioms and phrases, part 2. So, here is the first idiom that we are going to discuss. Curiosity killed the cat. That means being inquisitive can lead you into a dangerous situation. So, by the meaning of the idiom itself, it is clear what is intended by this idiom. If you are over curious about something else, or sometimes you are curious about the things which are dangerous. So, this is related to an experiment, a funny experiment. Somebody wanted to know what is inside a cat. So, he cut the cat and he found out what is inside, but the final result was that the cat was killed. Cat died. So sometimes being inquisitive, being curious, can lead you into a dangerous situation. So I can easily understand it. Then comes the next phrase, which is found in various newspapers, news items, dark horse. That means one who was previously unknown and is now prominent. So someone who was not that much known to the public, who was away from the public eye, but suddenly, in a shorter span of time, someone who has become very popular or who has become prominent in a field, he is called as a dark horse. So people do not know the rise of the person because they have never paid attention to the person. The person was never in the public eye. So such a person who has emerged from nowhere else and become popular or dominant in a field is called as dark horse. Now, then next idiom is don't count your chicken before they hatch. So don't rely on it until you are sure of it. That means don't trust on the situation, don't trust on the people, don't trust on the current trends because we don't know what will happen in the recent future. Things are very unpredictable. So in such conditions, it is better that we should only count the chicken, those which are already hatched. So we should not count the chicken before they hatch. Then comes every cloud has a silver lining. That means cloud is dark in color, darker situations, problematic situations, critical situations, they have an optimistic end, which means we have to become optimistic. Even difficult times will lead to better days. That means even though you are going through a very bad patch, you are going through dark times, in such times also we have to be optimistic. We have to be hopeful that the situation will improve and there will be an end to the present strife, present condition, present struggles. So this is about being optimistic during the times of crisis or during the dark moments of your life. It is called as every cloud has a silver lining. Then comes in the heat of the moment. So sometimes we are trapped into a situation where we can no longer think rationally or coolly on the possibilities, future possibilities of a situation, or we are not able to manage our response to that situation. That time we do something and we later on regret over it, and we say that actually I didn't want to do that. It was done in the heat of the moment. That means I was not able to decide my responses. It became very hard for me to pause and reflect on the situation. I felt like I should do something in this situation right now. So when someone reacts to a situation without thinking much about it, it is called as he has done something in the heat of the moment. Hope that you have understood the meaning of this idiom also. Then, last but not least, it actually comes from Shakespearean King Lear. That means an introduction phase to let the audience know that the last person mentioned is not less important than those introduced before him or her. So it is generally used in speeches that when we are going to acknowledge or when we are going to give credit to the people who have done something to make a program successful or to complete a project or to do something or accomplish some task, then we tell the names of the people, and the one who is left last, the name of the person whose name is, or the person whose name has come to the last, doesn't mean that the list is in the descending order and the last person is the one who is least important. In that condition, when everybody's share is equally important, then we say that I'm going to name the person at last, but don't think that his contribution is the least. So we say last but not the least. Then again, one more idiom comes from William Shakespeare. Lend me your ear. It comes from William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. Lend me your ear. That means to politely ask for someone's full attention. That when you are going to speak something very important, and we generally say that please pay attention or listen, please. Instead of that, you have one literary option from literature. Lend me your ear. Then again, one more phrase comes from William Shakespeare's play Hamlet. This idiom means uh, strange or crazy actions that appear meaningless, but in the end are done for a good reason. And it is called as method to my madness. So it is a phrase used by in an idiom used by William Shakespeare. Actually, the character Polonius says about Hamlet's madness that yes, he's mad, but there is a method to his madness. From that idiom, this new idiom has come into use. Method to my madness. That means there is some method. That means there is some purpose, some design behind the actions of the person, even though they look crazy actions, even though they look strange actions. If we look at the thing for which he's doing that, then we say that there's a method to his madness. Then comes mumbo jumbo. The words themselves do not have any meaning. So we can understand that it means nonsense or meaningless. So what he spoke was mumbo jumbo. That means he said nonsense or meaningless things. Then comes the next phrase, next idiom, mum's the word. That means the word that at some situations, the word that we need to speak is mum. Mum is when you have your lips closely tied together, that means you should not speak anything. That also means to keep quiet or to say nothing. So mum is the word that means keep quiet or say nothing in this situation. So these are some of the idioms. Then comes a phrase. Phrase is to work out, which is generally for the best. Working out means to aid successfully. So, for example, we may say situations very, very dangerous, but finally I worked it out. That means successfully I have ended the situation or I have successfully completed the task. Then the next idiom is a bitter pill. That means a situation or information that is unpleasant but must be accepted. Sometimes we go through a situation where we have no other option than accepting it. The situations are most of the times very unpleasant. We don't want to do the compromises, but we accept it anyway because whatever the option is, the most viable, the most correct option is to accept it. So we say that I did it or I swallowed it like a bitter pill. Then next is then next is ace in the hole. That means a hidden or secret thing or unrevealed advantage. That means sometimes there are some hidden secret things and it is unrevealed advantage. That means ace in the hole is something that is secret or unrevealed advantage. Then comes Achilles' heel. It comes from great epic by Homer, uh, the Iliad, in which the great warrior Achilles dies because Paris um, shots an arrow into his heel, and then he is no longer able to move, and then he dies. So Achilles' heel is a metaphor for fatal weakness in spite of overall strength. And then comes an insult to the injury. So to further a loss with mockery or the indignity to worsen an unfavorable situation. So adding insult to the injury means sometimes what happens is that you are already injured and somebody insults you. That means you are furthering a loss with mockery or indignity. That means you are worsening an unfavorable situation. So these are all the idioms that we had in store for us for this video. So in the part one and in part two, we have covered all the idioms and phrases that were prescribed for our syllabus. I hope that you have understood their meanings. And I also again suggest you that you have to use these idioms and phrases in your own sentences. By that way only, you can easily remember them and you can use them in similar situations. So I thank all the viewers, my students, and my friends